everybody. Kiler Davenport here on Alternative Public Radio International Broadcasting, and I believe tonight we're streaming live on People's Internet Radio. Yes, we are. I just got a thumbs up from my producer that we are streaming live on People's Internet Radio tonight, along with Alternative Public Radio International, or APRI, as we sometimes call it. I didn't get a chance to finish all of my research that I wanted to do before this show, and I was really hoping that I could get it done, but it was just too much to deal with, and I did not get it done. I'm looking at my notes here. Wanted to come on tonight and talk about Jade Helm, Jade Helm 2, Jade Helm 2015, etc., etc. I'm trying to close out another wall here that's not supposed to be here, but I'll leave it. Um, I'm sure some of you have heard of Jade Helm, and I'm sure that some of you have heard of Jade Helm 2 and Jade Helm 2015, but I was very surprised when I started talking this thing up to find out just how many people were clueless to what is going on with Jade Helm, or this super surveillance program here in the United States. As many of you know, we got rid of supposedly posse comitatus. We do not like to have the military on the roads here in the United States, and that's not what it's been about lately. Lately, there has been many convoys, many sightings of military personnel and SWAT teams doing their training around the country here in the U.S., as well as we are militarizing all of the police departments here in the U.S. and around the world. And when I say the United States, I really mean around the world. If we were doing this show 20, 30 years ago, I would just be talking about some little country town that I was in, probably, or maybe a city, maybe two cities, maybe even three cities, maybe even a large city like Dallas, Texas. But now, as I speak about what's happening with us, I also speak about what's happening with you, no matter where you are in the world. The globalists are definitely at work, and they are very successfully at work, I must say, contrary to what some of you believe. The globalists are winning. The globalists have won, as a matter of fact. They're not winning, they have won. I'm really getting sick and tired of some of you saying, oh, the globalists are not winning, we are winning, they're going to lose because the deck is stacked against them, they're going to eventually be sought out or found out. This is ridiculous talk, just ridiculous, completely silly, foolish talk. And this is why we're losing the battle. This is why we're losing the battle, because we still believe in the unbelievable that a common citizen or common citizens, sovereign or not, can fight against this monster that we've created and allowed to be created. It is self-sustaining. It is unmovable. It is powerful beyond comprehension. And whether we've completely allowed this to happen or not, consciously or unconsciously, it is a fact of life. It is a reality that this super surveillance police state is fully optimized. It is here, and it is not going away, and it is getting worse and worse by the second. Not the minute or the hour or the day or the week or the month, but by the second, it is growing beyond itself. It is growing so big that I can't even fathom how big it is now in my wildest imagination. And that's not because I don't know the components and the pieces and parts within this massive surveillance system, but it's because it's become so vast. It's become so vast and so powerful It reaches around the globe and it is devouring everything in its path. It has devoured everything in its path. Jade Helm 2 is an AI or artificial intelligence software system. As many of you know, we are in the age of AI or artificial intelligence. This Jade 2 system that I'm going to be talking a little bit about tonight is basically an AI quantum computing technology that has the ability to use vast amounts, and I mean vast amounts of data collected on the human domain or the node you will be hearing about tonight. Node, you have become nodes in the system, nodes in the machine. This program will generate a human terrain system using this system to locate and identify insurgents, rebels, and others within a geographical area. All of this information will be gathered through Jade 2 technologies, plural. Whatever label can be flagged rebel or terrorist. It might be you, might be your grandmother, might be your father, your nephew, your niece, your cousin, your twin sister, your pastor, your lawyer, your doctor, whatever. Might be one of your children in high school or junior high that are labeled a rebel or terrorist. They've set this global information grid up around the world. This network centric warfare environment that we live in today has become very, very, very dangerous. Um, you need to read this book that's out by John W. Whitehead, the founder of the Rutherford Institute. It's a new book out written by Whitehead called Battlefield America, The War on the American People. Great book to get, written by Mr. Rutherford. John W. Whitehead with the Rutherford Institute. I'm sorry. A new book written by him called Battlefield America. It's probably not new now, but it was new, so you should get it anyway. Um, I was thinking just the other day that, to be able to understand these systems that I'm talking about tonight, you almost have to be an agnostic or a humanist. Um, you have to get beyond the ontological reasoning. You have to get beyond religion. You have to get beyond the myth and the storytelling and their traditions and creeds and cultures and dogmas and all of these types of things to be able to absorb the information that I'm putting out tonight. And that's going to be difficult for many of you to do. Some of you have already hung up. Some of you have already tuned out. And some of you might hang on just to kind of see what I'm going to be saying next. Um, it's a very dangerous environment that we're living in today, folks. I'm going to say it again and again and again tonight, just how dangerous this environment is to you and your children and your relatives and acquaintances and coworkers. Um, it's very, very, very dangerous. And of course, you know, I can see many of you saying, well, it's not dangerous for me because I'm not in any danger right now. My kids and I, my husband's coming home. We're getting ready to sit down at the dinner table and have dinner, and then we're going to go over to grandma's and grandpa's, and we're going to sit out on the porch and have lemonade and swing. And my husband's going to play the guitar, and tomorrow we're going to the park. It's Saturday, whatever, wherever, and just on and on and on. You've got to snap out of it. You've got to snap out of it, folks. It's time to wake up. It's time to grow up. and it's time to stop playing around with yourselves. It's time to stop playing with yourselves. It's time to stop kidding yourselves. It's time to stop lying to yourselves and your children and your friends and your relatives. And it's time to get your head in the book. Get your head inside this information with Jade Helm 2 and all of these other projects, government projects and programs and events and activities that are going on today that are going to imprison and enslave your children and grandchildren completely. This system is nothing to laugh about. This system will swallow you whole, has already swallowed you whole in most cases. This is a war on the people of Earth. It's a war on the people of Earth, and it is here, and it is present, and it is dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Um, Jade 2 exercise being hyped up or pumped up out there as an invasion or occupation of a section of America or many sections of America, at the very least, is the largest type of EMT ever conducted on American soil anywhere ever. Jade 2 technology will not be directed by generals or commanders or lieutenants or people on the front who have the 3 stars and the 4 stars. It will be directed by software. It will be directed by a supercomputer or supercomputers. They're taking the responsibility off of and the authority away from the commanders who have blood and bone and putting all of the responsibility and the legality on a machine or machines, if you will, that will be connected together globally with multiple other systems and subsystem technology that deals in tracking and tracing, profiling, and so forth. All of these systems have been coming together over the last 25 years or so, and they are at full speed as we speak. They are at full speed. As I said before, they're taking all the responsibilities and legalities away from the generals or commanders and putting that responsibility on a computer or a network centric software based in AI at Jade Helm or with Jade Helm. This program uses vast sums of information. I said that a while ago, and when I use the word vast, it's in all caps. Vast sums of information collected on individuals, groups, populations, large geographical areas, countries. It dumps all of this information into a module called an HTA, a human terrain analysis tool. A human terrain analysis tool, which then analyzes the data to develop an HTS or human terrain system. Human terrain system. Once this is established, it determines behavioral parameter norms for individuals, groups, populations, centric areas, etc. Now, this computer will be able to literally read people's minds as far as looking at what they've been doing and looking at how they've been doing it and for how long they've been doing it, who their associations are, what organizations they belong to, what they post on Facebook, their smartphones, etc., their shopping habits, their visiting habits, any habits they might have. It's going to be able to take all of this information and put it together to make a predictive analysis as to what might happen, what could happen. Where should the police be concentrated? Where should the military be concentrated? This sounds like pre-crime detection to me. Pre-crime detection. By the way, for those of you who have not been studying this or are not up on this subject, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad at all. There are oodles and oodles. What is that word, oodle? We need to look that up. There are oodles and oodles of people. I like that word, oodles, out there who don't have a clue as to what Jade Helm is or what it does or where it is or how it functions or whatever. So don't feel bad. But you should know Jade Helm as well as you know your child's face. You should look at Jade Helm as much as you look at your child's face. You should be able to dig deep into Jade Helm by looking at the government documents that I'm going to be posting over the next few weeks. And you should be able to say, oh my God, what have we done? What have we allowed to happen? How did we create this monster? How did we allow this monster to be created? This is like a Frankenstein to the 500th power, out of control, completely out of control, as far as the people being able to have a say in what happens or does not happen with Jade Helm. So in a way, it is completely out of control if the government is supposed to be by the people and for the people. This human domain they keep talking about, as I said, can identify, eliminate, or extract perceived threats or targets based on deviations from the normal behavior. Let me say that again. The establishment of this particular software, machinery, if you will, equipment, technology has been called the human domain. It can identify, eliminate, or extract perceived threats or targets based on deviations from normal behavior within the context of a group, organization, etc., etc. Jade can also examine the human terrain system over time using remote sensors, both audio and visual, as well as real-time communication monitoring systems and other types of HTA tools to change or rewrite its program parameters in a particular human domain based on input gathered during the analysis process. I want you all to really open your minds a little bit tonight and think about what I'm saying. Information is stored in the Prodigy module, which is actually the battle planning suggestion module, which can be retrieved at any time and for any intended purpose by those who possess the equipment, the proper equipment to make these decisions as to what should be done or not done in a particular situation around the world. Yes, I said around the world. This is a knowledge-based or data-driven mixed initiative or a military civilian application. It is able to generate and deploy complex battle plans in seconds versus hours, days, and weeks as it has been in the past. It's able to generate and deploy complex battle plans in seconds. This is a computer that will run your life. This is a computer that will run your children's life. This is a computer that will run your organization, your group, your corporation, your school, your workplace, you name it, it will be there in some form or fashion. Okay? It will be there in some form or fashion. And if what I've been hearing is correct about everyone taking the chip sometime toward the end of next year, it will be working with that particular chip technology. to keep track of people everywhere. It can create holographic combat battlefield simulations on the fly. So it can give them, as you know, we can take pictures now from space of your backyard. We can see your door, your windows, your children sunbathing. We can see your fences. We can see any barricades you may have put up. We can see your swimming pool. We can see the signs on your street. We know where you live. We know what you're doing. We know where your children are. We know where your relatives are. We know where your friends are. We know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, and when you're doing it, and how you're doing it. This is Jade Helm 2. All of this deployment or battle planning starts with the receipt of a mission statement, which is then run through the CBR, or the case-based receiving module, to produce an ACO, an adaptive course of action. It's called the WORD, W-O-R-D, the WORD, adaptive course of action, through this CBR, case-based receiving module. What is adaptive about this system? This is the key. This system is able to adapt like a human being. Okay? It adapts itself to the changing human domain. Now, we're talking about computers here, folks. We're not talking about human beings. We're not talking about war planning commanders or generals. We're talking about computers, supercomputers, that are able to adapt themselves to the changing human domain. It adapts its planning methodologies on changing terrain of human activity as well as mental activity, activity that might be going on in the human brain or the collective environment that Jade Helm is destined to be working in and around. So here again, we might be talking about pre-crime analysis. Now, the definition of human activity, communications, financial transactions, travel patterns, behavioral patterns, emotions. This system can read and measure human emotion via your social media content and other information that you reveal about yourself at any given place or time, which means that the system is always watching you. The system is constantly surveilling and profiling and tracking and tracing your every move. I had to sneeze. This is very, very scary, folks. Very scary. A computer that can monitor your communications, financial transactions, travel patterns, behavioral patterns, emotions. The system can read and measure human emotion. And of course, it looks at all of your social media content. And I do mean all, with an emphasis on all, complete social media content, no matter where that content was laid down. I need to wet my throat here with my Dr. Pepper. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kiler Davenport on Alternative Public Radio International, streaming live and simulcasting with our sister station, People's Internet Radio, or PIR, as they're otherwise known. They're in Ireland, and we are proud to be on tonight simulcasting with them. This subject tonight we will be talking a lot about, and on the next show that I'm doing there at PIR. I think on Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock, I'm going to be going even more in depth on this. If you want to find me over at People's Internet Radio, you can find Kiler Davenport over there on the schedule Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific time. Um, this system is able to adapt so quickly, as I said, by the second. It's able to adapt its strategy. Activity can change rapidly, as you all know, in a crisis event or warfare scenario or some kind of a civil uprising. This Jade program is able to rewrite its own COA or course of action. You'll be hearing a lot of these little three-letter things. It can write its own course of action on the fly in seconds. A human being can't do that. Now, some people and many people have said, how in the hell can we let a machine do this? Well, we are. We have, and we will. We're taking the human risk out of it. We're taking the human responsibility away from it. And we're going to put all of the responsibility on machines. This is already happening in many, many places around the world, and we'll be going into some of that on the show Monday afternoon. The system has total awareness even in a rapidly changing environment. Of course, a machine would have total awareness even in a rapidly changing environment. You know how weak humans are, and you know how quick humans can be broken down and torn down and stressed out and depressed, and you know how emotional human beings can become. You know that they can be swayed one way or another, they can be bribed, they can be forced to do this, that, or the other, they can be talked into things. Well, machines don't have that problem, folks. Machines do not have that problem. No real central data collection point for Jade Helm, Jade 2, Jade Technology. Huge data dump centers like the one in Bluffdale, Utah data center is connected to the global, I said global information grid central point. This global information grid surrounds the planet and is very, very, very complete in its essence and its functionality. The Mitra Corporation developed Jade Mass VA States Format Force Management Module for this system used to support knowledge acquisition, data collection. NSA will be performing on everyone, not just identified threats, but every person on the planet, literally every person on planet Earth, unless you have lived in a cave all of your life, 50 feet underground, and you've never stuck your head out, you are involved and enslaved by this system. Government now perceives the American people as the greatest threat to its existence and will use a computer-driven military computer to clamp down on the people of Earth. I know this sounds like something out of a science fiction novel, but it's not. This is real-time information. This is not fiction. This is reality. This is happening now and has been happening and will continue to happen. Patriots, militia are all classified as terrorists. Puppet governments will be deemed patriots to be protected. puppet governments like the one we have will be deemed patriots and be protected because they will be holding up the system. They will be the skeleton for this Jade 2 system, this mind-blowing technology. Um, Parka, Parka, is able to handle extremely complex structured queries against large knowledge bases or large databases or data dumps. Meta tags or metadata contain virtually no information or data in or of themselves, only have value if they are indexed into a much larger data source or file in these immense databases, which means that they have the technology now to take all of the little pieces and parts and crumbs that fall from the table in raw data, metadata, meta tags. They can take all of that information now and make complete sense of it. This is where we are today. They can take all of that data and make complete sense of it. Now, has it all streamed out to the local police departments and sheriff's departments yet? The answer is probably no. Do they have the capability to do so, and are they doing that? The answer is yes. They are putting these machines, they are putting this technology into full operation as we speak and making this technology available to any and all who can acquire it or afford it or would be willing to use it, which is, I believe, most law enforcement agencies around the world would be more than happy to have this information. We all know how police departments are becoming more militarized and more dangerous every day. Jade 2 is a self reactive, self adaptive, self modeling program for predictive force deployment. I'm going to say that again, predictive force deployment. It can predict conflicts before they occur and react in a preemptive manner. It thinks in the present but can predict future events or human activity. These conflicts are not confined to a warfare scenario. These conflicts will eventually be confined to your living room or your bedroom. Police will eventually be able to have all of this information about you as a person before they ever make the call or respond to your house. Right now, they can do this on a massive scale as far as protests are concerned. They know who the protesters are through facial recognition and through other modes of identification, and they're able to identify these individuals within these groups, which helps them in developing a plan of attack. The predict and preempt capabilities can also be applied to scenarios of social unrest, as I said a while ago, protest. Any type of passive protest or nonviolent protest or violent protest or revolutions or civil wars or whatever, they've got the information they need on the individuals within those groups. Jade's system can make high-level trade determinations. Now, this gets a lot scarier. Even now, it's going to be a lot scarier on Monday afternoon when I finish doing my research papers. But Jade's system can make high-level trade determinations, makes decisions concerning casualties and targets in line with the overall mission objective, which to me means triage in a way. It has total command and control in an information-intensive society. It, It has total command and control in an information intensive society. From a military standpoint, the term command has a legal or behavioral standard of actions performed or not performed by military officers by which later they can be held accountable for their actions. The Jade system displaces that standard from individual commanders and places it on itself. Total command over land, sea, air, space, and cyberspace is how they will master the human domain that they keep talking about so eloquently here. Now, I'm going to be bringing in some PDF slides and software on the next show that we do next Monday, and we're going to be going a little bit more in depth into Jade Helm. Jade software can perform machine interpretation of commanders' intent in the field. I'll say it again. Jade software can perform machine interpretation of commanders' intent. This system sits on a global information grid, which is a flexible, scalable, dynamic architecture in order to support multilateral civilian and military operations. The process of sense making in complex human endeavors. This approach uses a set of cognitive constructs that translates tacit knowledge to the focal knowing of the objective world, accomplishing this by mapping your mind. They are creating these mind maps by using all of the information that is being collected on everyone in every aspect of their life. And I want you all to know this is happening to your children and your grandchildren as we speak live here on the air tonight on Alternative Public Radio International and People's Internet Radio. The process of sense making in complex human endeavors. This approach uses a set of cognitive constructs that translate tacit knowledge to the focal knowing of the objective world, accomplishing this by mapping your mind. They are creating these mind maps by using all of the information that is being collected on everyone in every aspect of their life. Comes with macrocognition, the process the system uses to dissect the human behavioral process. It is a cognitive and adaptive learning function. This function allows it to predict intent, enemy or civilian. It can predict intent of an adversary or target, as well as predict a range of behaviors of those targets. And it does this, as I said, it does this instantaneously, not in days, not in weeks or months, but in seconds. Now, I'm sure some of you can imagine how this is changing the overall mission and scope of international relations and global relations. It's changing everything drastically, including the way police respond or do not respond to certain incidents, the priority, the triage, and so forth. Now, as I said, this gets even worse. Jade 2 can reconfigure its own network topography to optimize communication and data transfers, which means in some respect this is a self-aware, self-maintaining system. A self-aware, self-maintaining system with one hell of a complex algorithm and axioms, of course, and complex calculations within this monstrous machine that allow it to do these things. It took some very smart people or some very smart beings to put this technology together and make it work, make it function the way the government wants it to function, the way the globalists want it and need it to function. So it can reconfigure its own network topography to optimize communication and data transfers. BBN Technologies, Raytheon, BBN Technologies is one of Raytheon's premier research and development centers in Maryland, I believe, if I can remember right. The use of bandwidth extenders on the cellular towers that we've talked about many, many times on this show, wireless architecture network, loss of wireless connection on cell phone in certain area, allocation of your signal to the system. Everything is tied into the global information grid. We're going to take a little break and we'll be back, talk a little bit more about Jade Helm. I'm going to get on some kind of break this thing down a little bit more in terms of the English language. And for some of you who don't like a lot of technical talk, I'm going to break this thing down into how it's affecting our lives around the local communities. So we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back as I get a snap from my producers to snap me back into consciousness here. And as I said when I went off air, I wanted to talk a little bit about this just from from my words and not from my notes of all this studying that I've done on Jade Helm too. I have a lot of notes that we won't even be able to cover tonight. But I wanted to say something that's very important, and most of you will just tune me out. You won't hear me at all, and those that do hear me will filter it through some other filter and won't get it, or don't want to get it. This programming with Jade 2 has nothing to do whatsoever with God, has nothing to do with Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism or any other ism, communism, socialism, has nothing whatsoever to do with any of those uh, ontologies, if you will. It's very empirical, very scientific, very complex, very high tech, and with one agenda, and that agenda is all about control, control, and more control. And that's just the way it is. And I know some of you who don't live on the planet, who live in different areas out there and yonder in the country in a slower setting, slower pace and time and space, you really don't understand just how dangerous all of this is. Not how much it will be, but how much it is dangerous to your children, grandchildren, to your families and friends and coworkers and acquaintances. Um, it has already happened. It's not a matter of when it will happen or if it will happen, but it's a matter that it's already happened and it's been going on for a long, long time. We really don't know how long. We can only speculate as to how long that these machines have been in charge. If any of you have went to the 10th grade, you understand that we know absolutely nothing about consciousness. We know absolutely nothing about being or existence. We don't understand the quantum realm, even though we know it exists. We know that we're seeing all of these particles and waves, and we know that we have the mathematics to look at physics, to look at the biosphere, the hydrosphere, and the thermosphere, and all of these other spheres. We understand the basic biology of life. We understand the basics of education and survival, getting along, getting by, traipsing through our life, one-eyed and one-eared. But when it comes to putting together a massive program that is so well put together and so well designed as Jade 2, it's a totally different story. I hate to hear people come on the air and say, these guys aren't going to win, that the house of cards will fall, blah, 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 blah. That's simply not true. Even if the house of cards does fall, there will be another massive control system take its place. All of you can just literally go jump in the river who believe that you're some kind of hot shot or that you're running with some kind of hot shots or you have some kind of special hot shot organization or some kind of special wisdom. You don't. Trust me, you don't, because I don't. And believe me, I have studied for years. I'm getting my doctorate, and I really do immerse myself in the books. I really do immerse myself in the research. I really dig down deep and interview the people that I could never bring on air who are whistleblowers, who are very well versed in any and everything that I'm talking about tonight and have talked about on past shows and will be talking about on future shows. And as I said before, these people, these beings, if you will, who deal in this type of technology care not about listening to you concerning your God or your Christianity or your holiness or your highness or your right or your wrong or your principles or reasoning or logic. They do not give a damn about that. They do not give a damn about that. You are just an insignificant speck of dirt in their eyes. And is that a bad thing? It's probably not a bad thing, because now I'm getting to the point of, in our studies, in our research, in my research all these years, I can tell you that right and wrong does not come into play when it gets to this level. Right and wrong is a personal perception, a personal perspective. It's very subjective, objective. It's your experience, your limited experience only, that is combining with other very limited experience, having a very limited effect on anything around you or within you, and your small, insignificant collective is not important. It's simply not important. Even if you think you have some kind of special interest group, you're crazy. You may make a difference in your community. You might make a difference with someone out in the world via the internet, but is it going to be a significant difference? Is it going to make an impact that will shatter the world? No, it will not. Those in control will remain in control. We've gotten to a point in our existence. We're looking at an event horizon here of technology where we could destroy ourselves. We have enough chemical weaponry, biological weaponry, etc., mind control weaponry, if you will. We have enough. We have enough weaponry, period, to blow the Earth in half, knock it off its axis, its little 23.5 tilt axis, or whatever it is. We have to understand that as individuals, we are nothing. As individuals, we are nothing. And as a small, insignificant collective, we are nothing here on the radio, it being alternative public radio and people's internet radio. Very, very insignificant power going on here. You have to understand, the powers that be have been doing this for thousands of years. They have culminated and collected into a massive power. They've been magnetized toward that. They've been magnetized toward that, and that's just the way it is. And that's the way it has always been, and that's the way it will always be. Tell me of a time when a few people got together in a population this size and overthrew a government. It's happened in the Middle East. It's happened in all kinds of places, but what kind of regime do you get that replaces it, and who is that regime in contact with? Who are they in bed with? Who are they communicating with? What is the motive of that new regime coming in? And what are they going to do to the people? Is there going to be more genocide? Is there going to be more ethnic cleansing? Is there going to be more violence and fraud? Of course there is. Of course there is. We're not talking about the Pied Piper here. We're not talking about a cartoon here. We're talking about real life for real adults. Okay? So let's try to get that through some of your thick skulls out there. Some of you who make these stupid statements about, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We're not going to do shit. You know, we're not going to do shit. And when you see somebody doing shit, give me a call and let me know. Drag me out of bed if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. If you see someone or hear of someone doing something significant, and to me significant would be a scale of 1 to 10 would be a 25, give me a call. Wake me up. Say, Kiler, wake up. Someone is doing something significant. One of the peasants has risen. One of the commoners has risen. Let us follow them. They're going to arrest the government. They're going to take down the White House. They're going to arrest the sheriff and all the deputies that beat such and so up. Come go with us. Okay, I will. You can't. You won't. You won't. And I hope you do. I hope you prove me wrong. I hope you prove me wrong because we're out there in the trenches every single day. We're not on the phone with Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water and, the spider sit down beside her. We're on the phone with people who make decisions in a big way every day. And we're still not accomplishing anything great. And we have some powerful, powerful contacts after 23 years working as we have worked, doing what we have done with the people that we have worked with. And we could still be considered insignificant, if anything at all. So, you know what I'm talking about here. You know what I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about, I'm not putting you guys and girls down. I'm just simply saying that you know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't say that you know anyone who has made any significant impact on anyone anywhere when it comes to a massive scale. You simply cannot show me those people. And so we say the next question is, why not? Why can't you show me those people? Why can't you take me to those people? Why can't you have those people call me? Because they don't exist. They simply do not exist. The globalist will crush you. They will mash you. They will kill you. They will violate you. They will take you down. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think. These globalists have got their shit together. They have simply got their stuff together, folks. We do not have our stuff together. The commoners do not have their stuff together. They're too busy down at the pub, sitting on the couch, eating popcorn, starting alternative radio programs. The globalists have billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. If they can't buy you, they'll just kill you. I want to see any of you call me up and say, Kiler, I've got an idea and it's going to be revolutionary. I need you to get on board with me because we're really going to go out there and kick the shit out of somebody. And we're going to get measurable results. And it's going to go around the world. It's going to travel. It's going to go viral in 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. I don't care if it takes a year. And it's going to change the way things work once and for all. And it's going to wake up the people in masses. And people are going to start to rise up and take back what is theirs. Okay? You can't. And you won't. I hope you do. I hope you do. I hope you prove me wrong. I pray that you prove me wrong. I pray that you prove me wrong. But you will not. We have come too far, too fast, and we've gone past the point of no return. It is now that we reap what we have sowed. All of you listening to me around the world, it's now the time we reap what we have sown. Now is the time that we take the consequences of our actions to heart. Even if you wanted to change, and this was the time of the mariners when they could all sit around the pub in port and form the Tea Party, the original Tea Party, That would be wonderful. But it ain't happening, is it? It simply ain't happening. And the reason it ain't happening is because we're too divided. We're divided ethnically. We're divided by gender, by culture, by tradition, by creed, by dogma, by religion. We're divided by color. We're divided by our education, socioeconomic condition, division, division, division. We can't even get along on these radio programs. We can't even get along producer to producer. There's always something happens. Somebody doesn't agree with you. Somebody wants to quash your freedom of speech. Somebody wants to tell you how to do something, how to run something, how to say something. They don't like this curse word or that curse word. They're going to infringe on free speech. They're going to infringe on your intellect because their ego got too big and you're a little smarter than them, a little faster than them, a little better than them, a little wiser than them, and the shit starts to fly and people divide. They divide. Instead of coming together and using each other's gift, instead of coming together and working out a solution, they divide. I'm speaking from experience as a broadcaster in both television and radio. I'm speaking from years of experience watching people. I'm speaking years of experience of having experiences with people who are both experienced and not experienced, those who are wise and those who are simply wise asses, those with massive egos and those that are dumb as a box of rocks. Yes, it is a very diverse populace, my friends, a very diverse world populace. And we must understand that we each see our own world through our own glasses. Reality is not what you see, and what you see is not by any stretch of the imagination reality. And most of you simply do not get this. Most of you believe what you're looking at is what you're looking at. And that's as far from the truth as the moon is to the earth, which is about 240,000 plus miles. To take over a world, you need education. To take over a country, you need education. You need chutzpah. You need balls. You need intelligence, wisdom, experience, talent, passion. You know, you can't do it with a fourth grade education. You can't do it with a ninth grade education. You might get lucky, like many have done in the past. Look at Mohammed. Ha ha ha. This this savage person who couldn't read or write or even think got lost in a cave one day, and Michael the archangel came down somewhere there in the 6th century and said blah 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 blah, and we have Islam. We have Islam, which can't make up its mind who it is. Which Islam is it? Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, door number 4, door number 5 to infinity. It's just like Christianity. It's complete bullshit. Plus, Muhammad married a 9-year-old girl, for God's sake. You would think a little pedophilia was going on here. Nobody ever looks at that, though, do they? Muslims dang sure don't want to talk about it. Marrying a 9-year-old girl and having sex with her. Nobody wants to talk about that. Allah is good. Allah is good. God is good. Yahweh is good. Yeshua is good. Elohim is good. But what is good? What is good to you is bad to me. What is bad to me is ugly to someone else. And what is ugly to someone else is perfectly all right with the next door neighbor. It's all about perception. Jade 2 will concentrate on those perceptions and those experiences, Jade too will capitalize on what I just said. Jade too will capitalize on the way that you received it and the way that you retransmit it when I get off the air tonight. It will be written in stone if you speak to anyone about it via private messaging or talk to them on Skype and mention Kiler Davenport's name. I will know about it because I'm tapped into Jade too. Shouldn't you be tapped into Jade too? Wouldn't it be better to know your enemy? Keep your friends close, my friends, and your enemies a hell of a lot closer. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think that I am stupid? Do you think they brought me in as a specialist agent with the governor's office because I'm stupid? Do you think I led one of the most intense, powerful teams on the planet to do what I did when I did it because I'm stupid? No, not at all. And for those of you out there who think you're really smart, get with me for a week. Get with me for a week. Some of you think you know me, but you don't. And that's a good thing. And it's also a bad thing. I think most of you would like me if we could sit around the old campfire and have a beer together. I think you would see my level of intelligence and wisdom and talent and experience. I think you would also see that I'm humble. I'm not a know-it-all, even though I come across really heavy sometimes. I'm far from a know-it-all, and I'm willing to listen to anyone about anything that you've done or that you've experienced or that you've thought. I like to talk about the hard subjects. I like to talk about the taboo subjects. I like to talk about the difficult subjects, the ones that very few people will talk about. I like to talk about the subjects that are only spoken of in the dark rooms, in the back alleyways, in the secret corridors. I don't like to talk bullshit. I'm not a big bullshitter. I'm not big on small talk. Never have been, never will be. This is why I do what I do. This is why I sit in this broadcasting chair. You know, I was on another network a while back and they kicked me off because I said shit. Yes, I said shit. They kicked me off the air because I said shit. What stupid, 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 ignorant fools they are to lose a talent like me for the word shit. Not everybody likes to tune into Kiler Davenport, but they listen, they stalk, they copy, they plagiarize, they rant, they rave, they bitch, they moan. I didn't ask you to tune in here. I'm not begging you to tune in here. I'm not paying you to tune in here. You can tune the channel out anytime you want to. But I'm telling you, Jade Helm knows. Jade Helm, too, knows. I'm going to be talking about some things on PIR Monday that are going to blow your socks off. It's going to blow your socks off. And your socks may already be blown off. Mine are. But if your socks aren't blown off, tune in to PIR on Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. and have your socks blown off. I'm going to be discussing some things that most of you haven't heard yet about Jade 2 and about Agenda 21. I'm going to be talking about the human nodes. I'm going to be talking about the machine. I'm going to be talking about this software and these different data collection points around the world that will be controlling your life completely over the next 3 to 5 years, if we make it that far without blowing ourselves up, or if some rogue nation or individual doesn't build a chemical weapon off the internet and kill 2 or 3 million people. or if some rogue nation doesn't fire off a nuclear weapon like a Roman candle and blow the hell out of something, maybe mid-United States of America. We've got this ancient grid system here that could go down from Canada all the way to Florida, black us out. We could lose everything that we have with a good blackout for, 10 years we could be rebuilding. If an EMP knocked us out from space, electromagnetic pulse, solar pulse could hit us, knock our systems out, and we could be down for 10, 15 years trying to rebuild. Are people ready for that? No. Are people prepared? No. Should they be? Yes. Will they be? No. Probably not. Most people that you talk to have no idea how much danger we're in. They have no idea what's going on in the world today. Most of them are one or two bricks short of a full load, one French fry short of a Happy Meal, and they just don't get it. They're clueless, and they're going to remain clueless. They're going to remain dumb, and that's okay. That is okay. Some people are so dumb they'll never know they're dumb. Some people are so stupid they'll never know they're stupid. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Look, if people want knowledge, if people want wisdom, they're going to tune in to Kiler Davenport and other shows like it on APRI and People's Internet Radio. People are not going to say, I just don't care about that guy because he's so smart. If they do that, they're dumb. Oh, I don't care about that guy because he loves my children and grandchildren and wants to give me some information that is going to possibly help myself and my friends and my coworkers and my acquaintances. I don't like that guy. So I'm just going to hang up because he's so smart and caring and intuitive and perceptive. No, they're not going to do that. If they do that, they're stupid and they need to go. They don't need to listen to PIR. They don't need to listen to APRI. And they won't listen to PIR or APRI. They simply won't listen. And some of them may listen with their mouths hanging open, and that's okay. At least they'll learn something. But, it takes stupid to know stupid. And we reach into this box of chocolates and we never know what the heck we're going to pull out. I mean, look, folks, we exist in real time. We take time out of the equation. We go post pre-singularity. We really don't understand it. We go pre-singularity, we're stuck. We go post-singularity, we're stuck. We go singularity, we're stuck. We go event horizon, we're stuck. We don't even understand Schrodinger's cat box. We don't even understand the wave particle observation problem. We haven't even discovered a cure for the common cold. We know not how the sinoatrial node pulses as many times as it does in the heart. We know not about the chemical soup in the brain and how it can create the mind, how we can establish ourselves in reality with this electrochemical soup we call a brain, with all of these neurons and axions firing, all of this massive power that's going on around the world with this collective imagination is astonishing, completely astonishing at its root. We simply do not know. And to me, at 58 years old, that's the most important, significant thing about my life is I do not know. If I told you I know this and I know that and I know this and I know that, it's speculation. I'm only giving you what I perceive. I'm only giving you what I have deep down inside of me from my experience and from my perceptive capabilities and abilities. I'm working this neurological system of mine. I'm working this electrochemical soup, and I'm trying to glean something from that I can pass on to you that I've been immersed in for so many years. You see. I'm not here telling you that I'm the smartest guy in the world. I'm not any smarter than a fifth grader. And by the way, there's a trick to that. We'll talk about it one day on a show. Um, not smarter than a fifth grader. Well, that's only because we didn't memorize certain things at a certain time and space and place and bring it to the show. These little geniuses ought to be shot. I'm only kidding. But no, most of us are smarter than a fifth grader. We know much more than fifth graders. We just don't know what they're studying at the moment. They're memorizing all this stuff, and then they're coming up against us old farts and making us look completely stupid. And that's why people tune into the show. But Jade 2 is on the march. Jade 2 is here. Jade 2 is immersing each and every one of you in its programs, and you should be at least aware of that. You should at least be aware of that. I prefer not to be aware. I would prefer to be completely stupid. And as a friend of mine, Tom Uford, who you all have met, uh, said if a nuclear bomb went off in the mid-United States, I would be the first one to drive into the dead zone and die because I would not want to live and scrape and scrounge to rebuild this nasty, nasty place where I know another terrible, evil regime is going to arise from the phoenix and take its place again. He didn't say all that, I did, but he did say he wanted to die, that he wouldn't want to be reborn into this nasty place that we call Earth. And it is a nasty, nasty place. Even if you are just one of the dumbest people on the planet, you know that this is a nasty place. I mean, if you're completely clueless, then yes, you probably think you're in La La Land or Disneyland, or you grew up with a rich daddy and mommy. You probably don't realize how dangerous it is around here. The furthest you've ever been to danger is on the roller coaster at Disneyland or something, and that's the clueless people that I talk about all the time. I'm going to get off this thing while I'm still feeling good. I don't want to start proselytizing. I don't want to start screaming and yelling and hollering and ranting and raving and bitching, and I'll probably do that if I stay on any longer. But I do want y'all to think about Jade Helm, do some research, do some checking, and if you don't want to do the research, I've done it for you. So we'll be talking about it on PIR next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. And we're also going to be here Saturday night, same time, same channel, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I really don't know what nights I'm on right now. I know PIR is definitely a locked in, but over here at APRI, we have so many hosts in there, so many doing so many different things. I'm not on as much as I should be, but I'm trying to figure out whether I want to co-host or not, or whether I would just chew them up and spit them out, or they would be too boring for me, or too slow for me, or too fast for me, or too gabby for me, or you got to think about that when you're a host. You got to think about that really, really hard. So what I've tried to do is I've tried to bring in host a nightly host. Like I'm going to have a co-host on Saturday night just for shits and giggles or whatever. And that kind of keeps me out of contract and keeps me kind of independent, where I don't have to be stuck with a co-host all the time. And I think that's the way to do it for all of you who have had arguments with your co-host before, as we all have, Stephen Roberts included. We've all had our problems and knockdown, dragouts, and fights, and with our co-host. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Glad to be on PIR tonight, People's Internet Radio. We're going to play out with some music. This is Kiler Davenport on Alternative Public Radio International. See y'all again very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.